Aloha, guys, and welcome back to Degree Free. We are your hosts, Ryan and Hannah Maruyama. On this podcast, we share the fundamentals we've discovered and the mistakes we've made while self-educating, getting work, building businesses, and making money. We'll tell you how to make it happen. No degree needed.
Welcome back, everybody. We're happy to have you as always. And if you want to get the latest in degree-free news, career ideas, and resources that can help you upskill or pivot your career, you are going to want to get our newsletter. We send that out on a weekly basis, and you can sign up for it for free on degreefreenetwork.com.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. We'd love to have you as a weekly listener. We post a new podcast every week, and we'd love to see you here. And without further ado, let's get into today's topic. Today, we're going to be talking about why you should write a book.
Yeah, this is a fun one too, because a few years ago, we went down this path and realized that self-publishing now especially is really accessible to a lot of people, and it enables people to write books pretty easily.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a few factors of the why. And a lot of people might think like, I don't have anything to talk about, or I don't have anything to say, so why should I write a book? And we hear that a lot. And so we kind of wanted to go over a few of the rather basic reasons of why you would.
Yeah, and I think too, just a side note before we start, I think a lot of people, if you say, hey, you should write a book, they sort of rack their brains for what they would, it's one of those things where when someone asks you your favorite movie, you forget every movie you've ever seen ever. And when you say, hey, you can write a book, people's response usually is, oh, I don't really have anything interesting to write about. But that's not true. I think most people have a book that they could write, and this isn't some long, great American novel, but this is, something that's 30 pages about specific information or experience that you have that can really help somebody else who's going through that exact thing. There's a lot of people in the world, and they read a lot to try to get information to help them learn about a situation they're about to be in or already in. And that's just something I wanted to say before we start, because I think everybody's got a book. Yeah.
That being said, it also doesn't have to be about anything that you've ever done or will do. It can just be that you research a topic and you read a book on it. It doesn't even have to be as involved as what you just said.
Yeah, you're right. It could just be something that you're kind of interested in or you think is useful, and you write a book about it. Or you want to make money, because that's a good a reason as any.
Yeah, because that's our first reason.
Yes.
So the number one reason, or at least the first reason that we're going to be talking about rather, is if you want to make money.
Yep.
It's not going to make you a lot of money necessarily, at least not at the beginning, right? You are going to have to do a lot of marketing and sales and everything like that. And if you don't know any of that, don't expect to make a lot of money up front. But if you put in the work, with selling a book, it's a great way to make passive income, because you front load the work. You front load the work, and then at least of creating it, and then you just let it sit there, and all you have to do after that is kind of promote it, right? You have to promote it, and depending on the platforms or the type of marketing that you do, you might not even have to promote it either.
Yeah, if you're publishing on Amazon, then you might just do paid promotions via Amazon, and they're going to promote it for you.
Yeah, or you might not even need to do it. What I'm saying is, if you do like search engine optimization or something.
Yeah, and you pick your topic well.
Right, exactly, which is the hardest part to do. That's one of the hardest things to do, is picking the right topic, especially if your goal is making money. If your goal is making money, the number one thing that you want to focus on is the topic that you pick. And that's going to have to do with a lot of keyword research, a lot of search engine optimization. It's kind of stuff outside of the scope of this video, but we have a previous episode of how to become an author, and it goes a little bit more in depth on how to do that stuff. And I think at a later date, if there is interest, we might consider doing a third part in this series. But as far as the making money aspect of it, there's a lot of ways that you can make money with a book as well, because a lot of people think that it's written and that's the only way that you can do it. But you could also do an audiobook, right? And a lot of people think that you only have to do it on Amazon, but you could sell it on a website of your own. If you wanted to, you'd keep more money. The benefit of publishing on a place like Amazon is that they have customers already.
Right. You don't have to point people, you don't have to get people to find your site. They're already on Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. As far as making money goes, you know, we had a friend that did this very successfully. What I mean by this is they wrote a book strictly to make money. So they did the keyword research, they figured out a market, and they wrote a book about a specific subject, and only with the goal of making money. And they didn't want to attach their name to it, so they authored it under a pen name, a pseudonym. And at the time, and this was like 4 years ago, you know, they were making good money a month. I mean, it wasn't a lot. It was like $600, I think it was, or
That's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, that's half of rent for some people, or your car payment, your grocery bill, your phone payment, stuff you got to pay.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't a lot of money. You're not retiring on that, but it was just kind of a good proof of concept for him. And I think he went on to author a couple of more books as well. And so that kind of brings us to, if you get the first one down and you kind of learn the recipe for it, you might be able to create and author more books.
And now you're just building on that initial one. So each one makes more money, and slowly that snowball gets bigger and bigger, and you're having more recurring monthly income too.
And what happens a lot of times with these types of like content or products is it might not be that everyone is a success, right? Not everyone is going to make whatever. Let's just call it $1,000 a month. You're going to have the one that makes 1,000, and then you're going to have like 3 that make like $2 a month.
Yeah.
Right. But you're never going to know if you've hit the $1,000 one, or if that's the max that you're going to get out of it if you don't just keep creating.
Right. And just keep writing books.
Right. And I'm not saying to create for creation's sake,
even though you can if you want to.
If you want to. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the things about once you kind of get the formula down and say you've did 1 or 2 books, you can start thinking about possibly starting a publishing company, which is kind of silly in that we're talking about self-publishing right now. We're not really talking about traditional publishing, but you could bring that type of traditional publishing to very micro and small time people. What I mean by that is, like, if your friend or somebody with a small audience on the internet is thinking about writing a book, or you think that they have an interesting topic that you think that should be a book, you could reach out to them and tell them, hey, I know how to hire an editor. I know how to hire book cover design. I know how to format it. I have a studio and a voice actor that can record it, or I'll record it myself for an audiobook. And, hopefully that person signs on with you, and you can create a contract where you make some commissions off of every sale.
And that is how publishing companies work. That's what they do. It's just on a much larger scale. So people don't realize it's essentially the same thing.
Exactly. And it's going to be tough. It's probably not going to pay for the bills overnight. But eventually, if you get enough people to use your services, and you get good at marketing books, and you get good at selling, it could be a living for you.
Yeah, and a decent one. It's pretty cool, but if you're interested in it too, you can look up people who have successfully done this and just kind of see what their stories say too. But there are people who post about their own journeys of just becoming, ebook authors, and that is how they make their living. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think the next thing that I wanted to talk about, as far as why you should write a book, is going to be kind of increasing your domain authority, or like expertise in a field.
Yeah, and this is a good way to, if you're especially if you have a business where your job is to sell a product or service that's associated with you knowing what you're doing. Writing a book is a great way to establish the fact that you know what you're talking about.
Not necessarily a business necessarily. It can be if you're a salesman or something too. If you're in sales of a specified field, writing a book could be a way to tell potential clients and customers that you are a expert in it and they should come to you.
Right. Like if your job is to set prices for corn or something, you could write a book about how that works. And all of a sudden now you're an expert on pricing corn.
Right. This is one of those things that is definitely not new. People have been doing this for a really long time.
No, this is how you get those talking head people on the news and their only credential is that they're an author, right? That's how they become experts, subject matter experts, is they write a book.
Exactly. A lot of times in the past, they would try to go to traditional publishing houses. What's difficult with that is that you'd have to have a formed piece of prose to give to them. You'd have to have your writing already to them, unless you already have a name for yourself, which you're not listening to this podcast if you do.
Right.
Which I mean, or unless you are, I'm not. Yeah, that'd be
hey there.
Cool. Yes, yeah, hi. And what you can do now is just self-publish it yourself. There isn't that stigma anymore either with writing and self-publishing on your own.
Anyone that tells you that there is somebody who either has like a vested interest in making sure that traditional publishing is held superior. Either they're trying to make money off of it, or they themselves are a traditional published author and they're threatened by the fact that people can self-publish books now and have not only the same amount of success but possibly more too than traditional published books.
Well, all I meant also with that was just that I'm talking about this. There's no stigma in publishing a book in order to increase your domain authority.
Oh, no, for sure not.
Because most people won't care.
No, you might get a few people that do, but who cares?
Yeah, and so we did this for our business, right? We established a services business in a very esoteric field. It required a lot of customer education. It required a lot of knowledge to be passed between what we knew and what we wanted the customer to know, right? Or the client or the prospective client. And so you authored, I say we because
we wrote them together.
Right, because we did a lot of the work together. And so you authored the book and we published it on Amazon. And we were able to order some print copies for our studio so that when prospective clients would come in, when they would do a consultation, we were able to hand it out. Or what happened a lot of the times was that before people even contacted us, they had already read the book.
Yep. That was pretty wild the first time that happened, when someone had come in for a consultation and said, oh yeah, I saw it in the book. And they read something that I wrote. And that was pretty crazy.
And it's not only that, it's the fact that they read it about the subject that you do and that you are now an expert on. They spent however many minutes, however many hours reading that book on that subject authored by you. They're not going to go anywhere else to get that service.
No.
Especially if it's feasible to do so. Right? So for us, it's a little bit different because we operated a brick and mortar services business, right? But if you are doing something like
marriage counseling is a good example, and somebody reads your book about marriage counseling and you offer online services, the likelihood that they are going to contact you is high because they just read your entire book about how to solve a problem that they have. That's a good example.
Yeah, exactly. Or video editing or something like that. I'm talking even more like completely digitally native, but marriage counseling could work. We're not making a lot of money on these sales, right? But okay, maybe a couple of dollars a month. I think the best months that we've had, we've made a few hundred. I'm not exactly sure how much, but never more than 1,000.
We don't do anything.
But it's not that. What I was saying is that the book made us way more money than that, because people would read it and people would come into our studio, and then we charge them thousands of dollars in order to do our service.
Right. That's true.
So,
I was just thinking about book sales alone.
Right. So the book helped our marketing funnel.
Mm-hmm.
It helped create another step in it, much stickier step. And it helped, kind of create a larger marketing machine that helped us get leads.
Well, in a way too, it helps your potential clients too, because especially if they're in a research phase and they're finding information confusing, and you can clarify information and help them make a decision about whether or not they're going to do something, that's huge. And you can win loyalty because writing a book is basically providing a service for them where you're consolidating information and clarifying things for them. And that's really helpful. And a lot of people are really grateful for you doing that.
It also is a good qualifier, because after they read it, they're like, oh yeah, this is for me. I'd like to learn more. Or after they read it, they're like, you know what? This is not really for me. This is not my style. And it's not necessarily just our business. It's every business. Say if you're a financial advisor and you have a certain way that you look at, managing money, and you're like, okay, so you go an insurance forward approach instead of, maximizing upside, right? You're minimizing downside, whatever your approach is. And they're like, yeah, I really like that approach. I'm going to go and talk to this guy.
Or they're like, I disagree with that entirely. I don't like that at all.
Exactly. And so they're not going to talk to you.
Right. So you've helped them either way.
And you've helped yourself.
Yeah.
So you're creating more qualified people, because by the time they hit you, if they have read your book, they're like, yeah, they're pretty deep, and they just kind of want to ask a few questions before they sign up with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the phone calls that you used to receive about, oh, I'm thinking about doing this. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? Those calls drop off dramatically as long as you're able to market and get your book in front of these people before they call you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And like I said, we didn't price ours to make us a lot of money. We wanted to make a couple of cents here and there, but we really wanted to make it affordable for people to buy, because we want them to have the information for cheap. And then if you decide to come to us, you hopefully pay our prices because we're the experts in it.
Right.
I think the last reason why you should write a book is just going to be because you want to.
Which is a great reason, honestly, especially too if it's something you've always wanted to do, in that you've always wanted to write a book or be an author or be a writer, and it's a really good way to just sort of dip your toes in what that's actually like, even in a small way. And it's really cool that that's so accessible to people now, and that you can accomplish that goal in your life. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, the great American novel. You can write a 40-page book and you're still an author and you're still a writer. It's super cool.
Yeah. And if you didn't want to attach your name to it either, which a lot of people don't, right? We know a couple of people that write books and they only publish under pen names.
Yeah. It might be topic, or it doesn't make sense for them to attach it to themselves in real life for whatever reason.
Exactly. And so I'm not saying that you have to do this, but I'm saying it's an option for you, because a lot of people, especially when they're first starting out, they're like, I don't want my name attached to this. And whatever the topic is, exactly what you said. And maybe you're writing about something that maybe you feel like you don't have the expertise to write about, or exactly what you said, or like you're writing about something explicit. I don't know, drugs or
something that you just don't want attached to your name when people Google you or something like that.
Yeah. And then but you want to experiment with writing a book. Okay, well, you can author it under a pen name.
Mm-hmm.
You can set up some dummy business and say that your name is John Smith, and just get to writing, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, historically, the pen names have been used to protect, author's identity so that they can write more freely, and it still works that way now.
Yeah, definitely. I think it
even more so now.
It comes with its ups and downs because it does protect you as far as, anonymity or pseudonymity.
But then if you want to use it and say, look what I did, you can't really because it's not your name.
Exactly. Right.
So it depends on what you're doing with it. If you're just doing it for kicks, then...
Which makes the marketing of it a lot harder too.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're posting it. Now you're sharing it. If you're sharing it on like social media and stuff, you're like, look at this great book that I found by this awesome author that you can't find a picture on the internet of.
Right.
Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. But the other reason why I think like if you wanted to try to get your feet wet on selling products, a book is a perfect way to do it because you don't really have to spend a lot of money on the manufacturing of it, right? So, but you still have all of the skills that you'd have to learn about selling a product.
Mm-hmm.
So you still have, testing, whether that's titles, whether that's book covers, whether that's book formatting, right? Design, whatever, right? Or even like structure, book structure.
Mm-hmm.
You can test all of those things just like how you would any other product. And it kind of gives you a good glimpse into what owning a business or what creating a product is like.
So that you can go through all those steps and just understand how much work is involved with doing those things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it can be as expensive or as cheap as you'd like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's really amazing actually. And this is one of the things that as we got deeper into this, it was really cool to see all of the resources that exist now for people to get work done and get help creating these type of things. So you can hire somebody to design a book cover for $20. It's not going to be the greatest book cover in the world, but you can hire them to design an ebook cover for $20-$30. Or, there's services that you can hire that design ebook covers for, a minimum of $300, and they look obviously way better, but there's different levels of service that you can get depending on what outcome you're looking for.
And for those people that have never hired anybody, that have never outsourced anything, this is a really good way, a really, like I said, low stakes environment in order to do so, because you can go on Upwork or Fiverr and I suggest when you're first starting out, stick to low cost providers. I mean, I really mean that.
Well, because you can kind of, if you get a bad result, it's not as bad because you didn't spend as much money, but also you can kind of experiment with keeping a lower budget and trying to work with them to get a better result.
Not only that, but you don't know what you like. You don't know what you like. You don't know how to manage people at this point. You don't know how to communicate what you want or what you need. And okay, I think a counter argument to that would be, all right, well, why don't you buy an expensive book cover or an expensive book formatter? Because if they did their job right, they would be able to ask all of those questions and be able to help you guide you through that, which I absolutely agree. But I'm just assuming that we don't have a lot of money right now. Mm-hmm. And if we did have like a lot of money, I would probably still go this route because it teaches you a lot more about the
hiring, managing,
right, the meta skills that you need to know in order to get any business done.
Meta.
Right.
Yeah.
And so even if you did have $500 to throw at this book, I mean, you could spend all the $500 and you could get a finished book. You don't even have to write anything. You don't have to research anything. Mm-hmm. You could hire a researcher, you could hire a writer, you could hire an editor, you can hire a book cover design, a book formatter, and you can hire somebody to post it on KDP for you.
Mm-hmm. And you're basically just a book producer at that point.
Right. I think that it is a worthwhile experiment for a lot of people to go through that haven't been through it before.
I agree.
Right. One of the things that I did want to talk about too is just that if you just kind of want to do it because you want to do it, and you're not really worried about making too much money, or you're not really worried about commission here, commission there, I would definitely suggest going with something like Amazon. The reason why is because we've already talked about it before. They have customers already that are looking to buy things.
Yeah, and their payment details are already hooked up in a trustworthy way, and all they got to do is click buy, and they can buy your book.
Because it is a headache to create a website, to create a digital product, to figure out payment, and then to figure out taxes based off of where that person is. It's a headache to do all of that. And right now, if you want to learn that, I definitely suggest you do that too. But if you have no idea where to start, I suggest not biting off more than we can chew, right? Which, I mean, we've done both, right? I mean, we still do both. And it is a lot.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot. I mean, because you have to learn how to, like I said, you have to learn how to do all that stuff, building websites and making e-commerce capable, and, you know, making it compliant.
And if you're just starting from zero, and your only goal is to write a book and not to make an entire business out of it, then just do Amazon or some other service that has it set up and easy for you to just upload a thing and then push it to customers.
Yeah. And then you can focus on, after you've pushed it to customers, and after you're not worried about fulfillment, after you're not worried about taxes and all that stuff, you just link your bank account, and then the money starts to stream there. You can worry about the things that matter, and that's promoting the book.
Yeah.
Right? That's the most important part after the book is written. After creation, honestly, it's the most important part, period.
Yeah.
Because if you don't market it, you can't get any sales.
Right. If you're not marketing, nobody knows it exists. And if nobody knows it exists, they can't buy it.
Right. And so by using a platform that's already set up for your success, you can worry about promoting it and making sales. And there's a lot to learn in that field.
Yeah.
Right. Because now we're talking search engine optimization. We're talking about copywriting. We're talking about paid ads. We're talking about influencer.
A lot of stuff that's really complicated.
Yeah. Getting reviews. All of that is very difficult, right? And maybe if it's a book that you are proud of and you do want to get it out there and it is in your field, maybe you want to start like going on the podcast tours and stuff like that, kind of the new age book tours. And it's like a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And you don't want to have to deal with your WooCommerce site or your Shopify site breaking.
Especially if you don't really know how to build those things.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. This is one of those things that if you don't know where to start with, you know, side hustles or whatever.
Yeah.
Side hustles.
I know. I hate using the word hustle, but honestly, it's the best. It's also still the best descriptor that we have at this time. So there it is.
Right. So
like I hate the whole. You just picture some bro getting up at 4 a.m. drinking a protein shake.
Yeah, I picture
some
like
$45 shampoo or something like that. I don't know.
I just got picture. I picture like Gary Vee just like yelling at me in my bed.
Oh man!
Like, get up! Time to get it.
Time to work.
Yeah.
Time to work. But yeah, so it's a good way. It's a good way to make money. It's a good way to establish authority, and it's honestly, if you're just doing it to write a book, it's really fun. It's cool. It's a really cool experience to just go, oh, look at that. I wrote that and I published it. It's very, it gives you a lot of confidence.
Yep. And it's going to take you out of your comfort zone if you've never done these types of things before too. If you're not used to putting ideas out there in the world, which when we first wrote articles or books or even did anything on camera or behind a mic,
super uncomfortable,
or in front of a mic, yeah, it's daunting. And so it's just a good way to kind of test the waters. A very low stakes environment. You can do it for free with a bunch of different resources. We'll put a bunch of links in the show notes and everything like that for everybody. And then we also did another episode about how to be an author, like how to actually do it.
Yeah, it's a big episode, folks.
Listen to that as well.
And like I said before, if you want to get more degree-free news, more degree-free job opportunities, career ideas, and resources that will help you learn how to get those jobs, you're going to want to get the newsletter. It's at degreefreenetwork.com. You can just run on over there and sign up for free. We're pretty excited about the newsletter.
Yeah, definitely. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, guys. Like I said, we'd love to have you as a weekly listener. We post a podcast every week. And we would just like to see you here. If you guys want to get in contact with us, you can leave us an email, contact@degreefreenetwork.com. We love to hear from you guys, even if it's just a comment. But a lot of times the questions help us kind of come up with these ideas for new episodes. On the socials, I'm at Ryan K. Maruyama. She's at Hannah Maruyama. The podcast is at Degree Free Pod. And until next time, guys, aloha.